Mohammed, how are you doing, sir?
Hi, fine, thank you.
I've got to, bother you, sir. I've been an admirer of you for a long time, and I just want to thank you, artistically for shining a light on what's going on in your country, and you've made another very impressive film. So my first question is, a lot has been made about your escape from Iran to tell this story, right? But I'm thinking to myself, are people back home in your country able to see your film? Have you had any feedback from people locally? Have they been able to see it?
So the film has been seen by some people inside Iran. Obviously, it will never be, it can't be shown on public big screens. So some people are circulating a version inside their homes, of course, on smaller screens, which apparently has some sound problems. And reactions have been really diverse. But the most important and recurring one has to do with how close this film is to society and also how fragile, painful, and violent these family dynamics can become.
Bravo, brilliant answer. So when I saw the film, I saw it as a woman's story, and your three actresses are superb. They're incredible. They really add heart to the story, and so I'm wondering, are they in any danger? Have you heard from them? How are they being treated as far as being the stars of this film?
So the young actresses, fortunately, were all able to leave the country. They all had to leave the country, and so they're living abroad. And luckily, the regime isn't able to get to them. However, most of the crew, so for instance, the set designer, the DOP, are still inside Iran, as is Soheila Golistani, the actress who plays the mother, and she has been harassed to the maximum extent that the regime is capable of from the first minute the news of the film's premiere came out, which means interrogations, being banned from leaving the country, being banned from working, you name it. Of course, she's an incredibly courageous and strong woman, and her resistance to this day has been really extraordinary. She's one of those people who I find incredibly inspiring. There are ongoing court proceedings against all of us, whoever was involved in making the film, on charges of spreading corruption on earth, prostitution, propaganda against the regime, and acts against national security. So we're waiting for the outcome. We don't know when it will be. Some of us will be judged in absentia. Others will be in Iran when the outcome, when sort of that time comes.
Wow, I pray for her. So I saw the film with a female colleague, and she was just devastated by the emotional impact. And
Really.
so her question to you is, what can women in America do to help Iranian women?
They can become the voices for the women of Iran.
Oh, okay. So this is about your now career as a filmmaker in exile, right? Do you plan to keep telling stories about the regime, or do you plan to pursue other artistic endeavors?
So I don't really think of my films ever as having been films made about the regime, but rather they're films about people living under totalitarianism. And of course, human relations and dynamics under totalitarianism, under those circumstances, are of great importance to me. And even now that I'm physically out of Iran, it's not as if my relationship with Iran has been cut. I keep following the awful news that keeps arriving from my country. And I hope to be able to keep telling stories that human stories that are that elicit emotional reactions all across the world, even though geographically they might be related to a place called Iran, and that make international audiences grapple with what's happening in Iran.
Okay, so let me follow up on that question with more of a lighter one. You've achieved such fame and acclaim, and we in the critic world really admire you. Do you find like Hollywood knocking at your door for like big budget Hollywood films? Would that be something that you'd be interested in?
That's not something I've really been thinking about, but if I were to receive propositions that allow me to tell stories that are loyal to myself and to my beliefs, why not?
That's great. So going back to the film, I thought the best parts were when the family was eating together and the girls were able to challenge their father, who was like a figment before because they never saw him, about their feelings. So do you agree with that, or is there other parts of the film that you want audiences to concentrate on more?
I think these scenes are really crucial, especially the one in which Rizwan, for the eldest daughter, for the first time, actually expresses her real self to her family, almost taking away the social mask that she'd worn to that moment, is particularly important.
Bravo, thank you, sir. Well, I have to leave for another interview, but I really appreciate your film and thank you for your contributions to film, sir.
Thank you so much.
بابت دست آورد تو برای سینما.